I think that, like Rona said, Gen Z is normalizing the conversation. And I think that's a really great thing, not just for Gen Z, but for everyone. And that's partially why I do what I do, because a lot of the things that Gen Z advocates for, like mental health, are actually things that everyone needs, right? We all
Mm.
need to focus more on ourselves and our mental health, not to say, oh, let's be narcissists, but really, like, let's tune into how we're doing, because that way we can be more conscious leaders. We could be more empathetic. We could treat each other better, and maybe there'd be less conflict to get in the way of efficiency. And I do think, one of my predictions that I'm going to be dropping in my newsletter this Friday is that trauma is not taboo anymore. And I
Yep.
think that's kind of the next level of the mental health conversation. We've thus far been kind of general about mental health and talking about that. I think that like over the past few years, I've seen, new benefits like, grief support and grief counseling be on the rise. I think we're going to see more of that and more specifically, targeted and personalized mental health interventions, which I'm excited for.
And I'll just point out, like, it was last year, HR Tech gave us speaking space to come in and talk about mental health at work, wellness at work, trauma at work, and what this looks like and the shift and the impact it's actually having on companies. And
Mm.
so when we start having some of the larger events come in and start normalizing this in a way where we're not talking about it in a very like, oh, get a mindfulness app, oh, worry about burnout, but really like, hey, we have all of these type of things that we're not talking about the impact of menopause, the impact of domestic violence, the impact of grief, the impact of trauma, the impact of the fact that how many of our young new hires have lived through mass shootings. It's actually pretty high, right? And so you've got this a very different perspective of how this is all coming in. Our research is showing that in 2024, 27% of companies were actively buying mental health technology to help support their workers, and another 47% were starting to research it. And
Mm.
so our buyer behavior research for 2025 is running January, February.